All right, today we're going to unpack this incredible ancient poem, but it's really about something we all get being rescued. And maybe more importantly, what happens after you're rescued. This isn't just some old text. Think of it more like a roadmap, a journey from this desperate pit to solid ground. And it all starts with a question that I think hits home for just about everyone. Seriously, just take a second. What does it feel like to be truly rescued? To be pulled out of a situation where you felt completely hopeless. That raw, powerful feeling, that's the absolute heart of Psalm 40. It's the engine driving this whole thing. So let's start where the story has to start, in a moment of total crisis. Every rescue story has a beginning, right? And for the person speaking in this psalm, that beginning is a really bad place. A place they simply call the pit. And listen to the tension right in this first line, I waited patiently. Who waits patiently when they're desperate? It tells you this wasn't some quick fix. This was a long, drawn-out period of desperation. But there was still a little bit of hope mixed in there. And the real turning point, it's not when the problem magically disappears. It's that moment the speaker finally feels like someone is listening. And the way this feeling is described is just so powerful. The imagery is incredible. It's not just about being in a tough spot. It's about being stuck, like truly unable to get your footing. The slimy pit, the mud and mire. You can almost feel it, can't you? That cold, that feeling of complete helplessness, where every move you make just sinks you deeper. This is where the journey begins.
Okay, so from that absolute low point, everything is about to change. And the rescue, well, it's not subtle. It's dramatic. It's total.
Just look at this contrast. It's so stark. The writer is literally lifted out of that slimy pit and put on a solid rock. You go from total instability to unshakable security, from sinking in mud to having a firm place to stand. This is way more than just a change of scenery. It's a complete shift in reality for this person.
So, what do you do when something this huge happens to you? What's the natural reaction? Well, the psalmist calls it a new song. But here's the thing, it's not just about writing a tune. Think of it more like a story you just have to tell. It's a testimony that explodes out of you because of what you've just been through. It's your personal story, but it's meant for a public stage.
Yeah, and this new song is definitely not meant to be sung in the shower. The first thing that happens after the rescue is this huge outward explosion of praise, and it's specifically designed to have an effect on everybody who's listening. This is basically the chain reaction that happens. It's so important. First, this new song is put into the speaker's mouth. Then, because of that, other people see what happened, and it creates this sense of awe, this fear of the Lord. And what's the result of that? They start to trust too. So you see how a deeply personal rescue spirals out and becomes this powerful public message.
And this whole ripple effect, it's not an accident. It's not just a happy coincidence. Being rescued creates this deep, profound sense of mission. It's not just a good feeling anymore. It's a brand new purpose.
And this right here is a massive shift. The rescue completely changes the person from the inside out. It's not about just gritting your teeth and following a bunch of rules anymore. Now the speaker says, I want to do your will. I desire it. That purpose is within my heart. It's become a core part of who they are now. So that internal desire, it shows up in some very specific, very public actions. Look at the strong verbs here. The speaker makes a promise. I will proclaim. I will speak out in front of everyone, the great assembly. And maybe just as important is what they won't do. I won't shut up about it. I won't seal my lips or hide this story. The message is just way too important to keep to yourself.
Okay, so if the story ended right there, it'd be a pretty neat little package, right? A perfect happily ever after. But it doesn't end there. Not even close. The psalm takes this sharp, incredibly honest turn, and it shows us a reality that's a lot more complex and frankly a lot more relatable.
And this is where things get super real. Just because you were pulled out of the mud and put on a rock, it doesn't mean you're suddenly immune to new storms. The memory of that first rescue is huge, for sure, but it's not a magic wand that makes all your future problems disappear. Just listen to how raw this is. After all that talk about the solid rock and the new song, the speaker just comes right out and says, troubles without number surround me. They feel completely overtaken, like they can't even see straight because of their own sins. Suddenly, that huge victory from the past feels a million miles away in the middle of this new crisis. And get this one phrase, it's just devastating. He says his troubles are more than the hairs of my head. Think about that. This isn't some small little problem. This is a weight so overwhelming you can't even count it. It's the feeling of being completely and utterly swamped. No wonder he says his heart fails. And what's so crucial here is that the poem doesn't just loop back to a happy, triumphant ending. Nope. It ends with the speaker admitting they're still poor and needy. It finishes with this urgent, desperate plea for help. Come quickly. Do not delay. The story isn't finished. The need for rescue, it's still happening. And that leaves us with this really fascinating question, doesn't it? Because the speaker hasn't forgotten that first rescue. In fact, they use the memory of it as the reason for their new plea. It's almost like they're saying, hey, you did it before, so I know you can do it again. So the question for us is, how do you hold both of those things at the same time? How do you stand on the solid rock of a past rescue while you feel like you're sinking in the mud of a current crisis? And that tension, well, that's what makes this ancient song feel so incredibly powerfully human.